This time on Dream Builders, an Austin man builds earth-friendly structures to practice what he teaches, using plaster to get a finely crafted finishing touch, and meet a man who will draw you into the home building world, literally. These stories and more just ahead.
Welcome back to Dream Builders. I'm Scott Morgan. Here in Austin, Texas, it looks like sustainability will be part of the future of home building. But some artisans prefer to get their inspiration from the past. Steve Greenberg looks at ornamental plasterwork, a historic detail that's grabbing attention in contemporary homes.
When Bob Byers and his wife built this Georgian-style home outside of Philadelphia, they wanted it to have grace and old-world charm.
My wife and I love history, and we've traveled all over the United States, and one of the things that you notice in any quality home or building is ceiling ornamentation. When you see it well done, it just shines.
And that's why the Byers included plaster ornamentation in 5 rooms of their new home. The foyer, the living room, den, even a wave pattern in the bathroom. But Bob's favorite is the dining room.
I think it's the most elegant room in the house, and it looks especially nice in the evening. You just have candlelight on the tables, and then the chandelier lit at a very low level. The ceiling just speaks to you. It's just a wonderful feel that it gives. I love the room. I absolutely love the room.
The Byers plaster work was done at Felber Ornamental Plastering Corporation, one of just a handful of shops in the U.S. which still does this almost lost art. James Kurlowski owns the shop.
It does give a building character. It does give it more of a warmth and hominess and an interest. And I think it makes, used in some rooms like entrance foyers or dining rooms, it makes them more special, in some cases more formal.
Now when it comes to making ornamental plaster, there are basically 2 techniques. You can either make the model from scratch, or you can work with an existing model. Here upstairs they have about 3,000 existing ornamental plaster models, everything from rosettes to medallions.
Making the decision was really quite difficult. I can't tell you how many hours we spent down going through the wonderful assortment of ornamentation that they have available at the company.
Now, once a homeowner has chosen the model they want, for example, this Pilaster Capital right here, this one's 50 years old. The folks here touch up the chips in it. Then they make a urethane mold. That's what this is. Then the mold is poured up in plaster. When you separate the plaster, you've got this, which looks just like the original.
Sometimes the folks here have to create a pattern out of clay, or they have to redefine an old piece of molding so it has the same look as it did originally. Very often they're put in the position of matching and recreating an existing plaster detail, like this molding.
This is an actual piece of plaster crown molding that was run in place that the customer gave us from their home. What we do is we cut a nice flat section, trace off the profile onto a piece of sheet metal like this. Right, this is the sheet metal. And then the sheet metal is tacked to a board and horsed up, and we run on this bench here to get the amount of cornice that we need.
Here, using a sheet metal template, they're making a plaster crown molding run. James Kurlowski says he sees plaster work becoming more and more popular.
I think people got tired of plain boxes. I think when all the ornament and the interesting parts of architecture were wiped out by the modernist movement, people kind of lived in sterile, plain rooms, and I think they got tired of that.
And though there are plastic moldings available, James says there's no comparison.
Plaster is still the least expensive product, and it doesn't burn. It doesn't give off any smoke. And it gives terrific detail. It'll give back fingerprint quality detail for any casting that you want to do.
But ultimately, it's the skill of the craftsman that creates plaster perfection.
It is a very creative process, and I do consider the craftsmen that work in this shop to be artists. once it's installed and everything that you've made in 6-foot lengths or whatever length is put together and it's complete and it's unified and it's finished and stuck to the ceiling and the walls and then it's painted, it's really terrific looking. I mean, you really feel like you've accomplished something.
For homeowners like Bob Byers, it's the subtle details, these delicate images, which help make his house a home.
I love the feel of the house that the plaster ornamentation gives. It gives an authenticity, an association with the history of our past. And I'm awfully glad that we put it in.
The future of home building is yet to be written, but if the folks here in Austin have anything to say about it, sustainable home technology will become tomorrow's trend. And whether you're making treasures from trash or rethinking recycling on a big scale, your own home is a great place to start. We'll show you more next time on Dream Builders. From Austin, Texas, I'm Scott Morgan. So long.